uncomfortable questions about their dependency on American weapons already in their arsenal. One example is the F-35 fighter jet made by American aerospace giant Lockheed Martin.
It's not just Canada, right? Some other countries are also reviewing their contracts to buy these very expensive fighter jets from the U.S. over trade.
Europe, Canada, and many other world actors are losing interest in and desire for US weapons. At the top of the list of weapons that the EU is losing focus on is the F-35 fighter jet, which is said to have the most modern features in the world. In Canada and Europe, questions are growing about whether big-ticket purchases of high-end US weapons, such as the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, are still a wise strategic choice. As Western countries worry about their investment in the US defense industry, some NATO countries are now rethinking tying their defense systems to US-made systems and are instead considering European jets such as the Saab Gripen, Eurofighter Typhoon, and Dassault Rafale. Countries such as Canada, Portugal, and Germany are planning to abandon the F-35 project, which is worth more than $30 billion in total. But is there any other reason for this other than Trump's economic policies towards the EU, Canada, Mexico, and China? It is not easy to give up an important fighter jet like the F-35, unless the fighter jet has a problem like the kill switch that will shock the world agenda. Yes, you have not heard wrong. The fact that the F-35, one of the most modern and powerful jets of the US, has such a feature has become one of the most intense agenda items of recent times. First of all, we need to talk a little bit about what this feature is. A kill switch is a mechanism used to shut down or disable a device or program. The purpose of this mechanism is usually to prevent the theft of a machine or data, or to shut it down in an emergency. So do the F-35s have a kill switch? Is this the reason why the EU and Canada have abandoned the F-35 projects of enormous financial value? How will Donald Trump deal with this severe fatal problem and restore the F-35 to its position as the world's first choice jet of choice? For answers to all these critical questions and much more, the video begins. Before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and like us to stay informed about our content. First, let's take a look at what the world sees about the kill switch that caused the F-35 to fall out of favour. German authorities claim there is a kill switch embedded in the US-made F-35 fighter jet. Arms companies in the country also share important assessments about this situation. Joachim Schranzhofer, head of communications at the German arms company Hensoldt, hinted that the so-called kill switch installed on the American-made F-35 is not just a rumour, but that it would be easy for the US to ground the aircraft by blocking access to important software under its control. Wolfgang Ischinger, former president of the Munich Security Conference, and Ingo Gedertjens, a former military official and member of Germany's Christian Democratic Union Party, agreed. Following these shared assessments, the export value of the F-35 fighter jets was predicted to drop dramatically in the future. The kill switch crisis announced by Germany has triggered an awakening process in the EU and Canada. One by one, countries turned to different alternatives instead of F-35 fighter jets. Among these alternatives were European models such as Eurofighter Typhoon and Dassault Rafale. Canada was the first country to want to leave the F-35s due to the kill switch problem. In Canada, where Trump launched a trade war and threatened economic coercion to make it the 51st American state, new Prime Minister Mark Carney asked Defense Minister Bill Blair to review the F-35 purchase. Mark Carney was referring to his country's decision to purchase a total of 88 F-35s. Following this call, a defense spokesperson said that Blair would look at whether there were other options given the changing environment. We are talking about a contract worth more than $19 billion. Canada was a partner with the US in the development of the F-35. Now we are facing a very different scenario. In Portugal, the outgoing defense minister said in an interview with a Portuguese newspaper last week that recent US positions have forced a rethink on the purchase of the F-35 because the US has become unpredictable. Portugal is considering various options to replace its F-16s. For Portugal, you are not just buying an airplane, you are buying a relationship with the United States. Winslow T., Wheeler, a long-time government observer who spent 30 years in the US. Congress working on national security and defense issues for Democrats and Republicans, said that in the past, people not only welcomed such relationships, they desired them. In Portugal, however, there is now a shift, almost a revolution, in the Air Force component. The Portuguese defense minister pointed to the recent US stance in the NATO context as a factor in reconsidering the replacement of 28 F-16s with F-35 Lightning IIs. Portugal is not an official member of the F-35 program. Lisbon has not officially selected its next fighter jet, nor has it signed any procurement contract or formal offer and acceptance letter. So it would be much easier for Portugal to write off the F-35 if the Lisbon government were to abandon the F-35 altogether. The US would lose more than $6 billion in total export financing. At the same time, Germany's order for 35 aircraft, which has made the most prominent statements on the kill switch issue, has also been called into question. Germany's armed forces purchased 8 F-35s last year. In 2022, Germany signed a multi-billion euro deal with American aerospace giant Lockheed Martin for 35 F-35A Lightning II fighters. At the end of 2022, Germany announced that it would acquire 35 F-35 fighter jets in a deal worth $8.4 billion. Amid these concerns, whether Germany will buy F-35 fighter jets in the future is still a matter of debate. The first F-35 would be delivered to the German Bundeswehr in the US in 2026. The remaining fighter jets will be sent to the Luftwaffe in Germany in 2027, and the service will start training on these jets in the US in 2026 or 2027. The Berlin government may be planning to cancel this deal and keep the F-35s in the US. If Germany finds a replacement for the F-35 fighter jets, the military relationship between Washington and Berlin on air power could start to fracture. The new Chancellor Friedrich Merz is enthusiastic about this. After all, Mr. Merz advocates complete independence from the United States. This was probably a response to a series of recent announcements and actions by the Trump administration that shocked the German political establishment. Moreover, the German organization also frowned at a series of recent statements by members of the Trump administration. Vice President J.D. Vance's speech at the Munich Security Conference, in which he harshly criticized Europe for allegedly undermining freedom of expression, prompted a clear reaction from German leaders. And of course, Elon Musk's alleged interference in the German elections and his open support for the far-right Alternative for Germany enraged Merz. The then candidate promised to be prepared for the legal consequences of Musk's interference. Even now, we can see that Germany's position has not changed. The Berlin government wants to break with the US, especially militarily. If Merz means that with true independence, Germany will no longer rely on the US for its security, this will require several major steps. Mr. Merz must first convince his prospective coalition partners, the Social Democrats, that this is the right goal. After all, German governments are bound by very detailed coalition agreements. Second, Mr. Merz would have to significantly increase German defense spending. As it stands, Germany's annual defense budget is just over $90 billion or 2% of its GDP. Recently, Germany's parliament, the Bundestag, has been voting on whether to lift the brakes on defense spending. Experts say that this vote in the Bundestag is critical for Merz's strategy. Berlin is expected to increase its budget by $145 billion annually to defend Europe without US assistance. It is not impossible that not only Germany, but also other European countries, and even Canada, will give up the US F-35 fighter jets, increase their military spending, and declare independence from the US arms industry. It is just a process that will take time. Suddenly, the EU will not be able to eliminate the US military defences that have dominated NATO for many years. But over time, the EU could find other alternatives to the F-35. So which jets could the EU and Canada turn to instead of the F-35? Currently, EU members and Canada are interested in Western jets, particularly Eurofighter Typhoons and Rafale. Let's first consider the Eurofighter Typhoons. It is not known whether the Eurofighters can replace the F-35, but the features of these jets are too important to ignore. The Eurofighter Typhoon is built with advanced composite materials to provide a lower radar profile and a strong airframe. Only 15% of the aircraft's surface is metal, providing protection against covert operations and radar-based systems. It offers both superior maneuverability at subsonic speeds and efficient supersonic capability to support the widest range of combat scenarios. The jet's engine assembly is also quite remarkable. The latest engine technology has been a key part of the Eurofighter Typhoon project from the very beginning. So far, the EJ200 is the most reliable engine on the market. 4 global companies have jointly developed the high-performance EJ200 power plants, each delivering 90 kN thrust from a small, lightweight engine with high strength and high temperature capability. The lightweight engines enable the Eurofighter Typhoon to cruise at supersonic speeds for extended periods without the use of reheat. The engines deliver 1,200 flight hours without the need for unscheduled maintenance, thanks to the use of advanced integrated health monitoring. We should also mention the sensors of the Eurofighter jets. Class-leading sensors provide the pilot with unparalleled situational awareness, seamlessly integrating data and updating the battlefield picture for actionable intelligence. Fusion information superiority allows the pilot to dominate the battlefield. Electronically scanned radar is the primary sensor on the Eurofighter Typhoon and features a full suite of air-to-air and air-surface modes. The Eurofighter Typhoon's large aperture allows the installation of the E-Scan's optimized and repositionable array, whose field of view is approximately 50% wider than conventional fixed-plate systems. This wide field of view offers significant advantages in both air-to-air and air-to-surface engagements, and, given the large power and aperture available, provides the pilot with much improved angular coverage compared to fixed-plate systems. In addition, the Pirate system or passive infrared air tracking equipment enables Eurofighter jets to simultaneously detect and track multiple and maneuvering targets through their passive sensors. The multifunction digital information distribution system allows the aircraft to exchange real-time history between a wide range of users, including air forces and, where appropriate, ground and naval forces. It is high-speed, high-capacity, secure and jam-resistant, and can share and receive information from other users on their networks. The Defence Aid subsystem gives Eurofighters the chance to monitor the outside world. It is installed internally and provides the pilots with an all-round prioritised assessment of air-to-air and surface-to-air threats, with fully automatic response to multiple threats. The Defence Aid subsystem includes electronic support measures and electronic countermeasures pods, missile approach warning, chaff and flare dispenser, an optional laser warning receiver, radar warning receivers, and towed decoy. In addition, the friend or foe identification system enables the Eurofighter Typhoon pilot to recognise aircraft as friendly or potentially hostile systems in both military and civil air traffic modes. The advanced cockpit design and layout, on the other hand, is based on an extensive series of formal evaluations in a rapid prototype facility carried out by operational pilots from the air forces flying the Eurofighter Typhoon. Using and upgrading advanced digital technology not only improves operation and survivability, but also simplifies aircraft maintenance. Throughout the Eurofighter jets, flexible couplings connect fuel pipes located in the 3 main fuselage sections and wings. These provide a simple method of connecting fuel tanks with relief valves to maintain air and fuel pressures, as well as fuel flow rates to maintain the centre of gravity. The intelligent computer-controlled fuel system provides long-range, flexibility and safety. The maximum fuel capacity of Eurofighter jets is 7,600 kilograms. One of the most important features is the weapon systems on these jets. For Canada and the EU to prefer Eurofighter jets over F-35s, the aircraft's weapon systems must be remarkable. The Eurofighter Typhoon can carry a wide range of air-to-air and air-to-surface weapons. The aircraft offers weapon engagement zones starting at close range, from visibility to long-range engagements. The jet's life support is also very satisfactory. The Mk-16A ejection seat on the Eurofighter Typhoon is 30% lighter than equivalent ejection seats. This is achieved by combining twin ejection gun outer cylinder tubes as both the propulsion system and the primary structure of the seat. The slim headbox also contributes to the Eurofighter Typhoon's excellent rear visibility. The seat integrates an onboard oxygen generation system and communication systems. The simplified combined seatbelt allows unassisted strapping, and the passive leg restraint system eliminates the need for the pilot to wear restrictive garters. A second-generation electronic sequencer is also included. Reliability and sustainability are key elements of the design, with full access to in-cockpit components. With all these features, Eurofighter jets are poised to become the F-35 replacement for the EU and Canada. As we mentioned, another jet type that the EU and Canada are interested in, besides the Eurofighter Typhoons, is the Rafale. Rafale is a multi-role fourth generation, or 4.5 in the latest version, supersonic fighter jet developed by the French company Dassault Aviation. The Rafale, whose name can be translated as a gust of wind or a burst of fire, emerged from a joint request by the French Air Force and Navy in the late 1970s to replace the existing aircraft lineup, which consisted mainly of Volt F-8 Crusaders, Dassault Étendards and Dassault Super Étendards in the Navy, and different versions of the Dassault Mirage and Seppicat Jaguars in the Air Force. In 1979, Dassault Breguet joined forces with MBB and British Aerospace, two companies that had recently developed the pan-European Panavia Tornado aircraft under the European Combat Aircraft Programme with Air Italia. Again, differing requirements, the French preference for a light, multi-role land and maritime fighter, and the British preference for a land-based, heavy, long-range interceptor, put too much strain on the project. And while France retired in 1985, the other partners, the United Kingdom, Germany and Italy, continued to build the Eurofighter Typhoon. While the international saga was developing, Dassault had been working on the ACX project, initially codenamed Rapace, since the late 1970s. In the early 1980s, the ACX was narrowed down to 4 configurations, 2 of which would feature canard and delta wings that would be featured on the Rafale, and on April 13, 1983, it finally received the green light to build the first prototype. Gaining new momentum following France's withdrawal from the EFA, the Rafale was finally unveiled on December 13, 1985, at Saint-Cloud in the presence of Marcel Dassault. Although the Rafale was a highly innovative aircraft thanks to its advanced fly-by-wire capability, extensive use of composite materials, development using the proprietary CATIA tool for computer-aided design, and the highly advanced Spectra electronic warfare system, it initially found few foreign buyers, even though the use of IR-guided long-range air-air missiles made it a strong threat even for fifth-generation aircraft. This quickly changed with the important role Rafales played in the NATO-led intervention in Libya in 2011. At that time, the Rafales, typically equipped with 4 Emika air-to-air missiles and 4 or 6 EASM Hammer guided bombs, as well as a Thales Damocles targeting pod and 2 drop tanks, carried out numerous strikes thanks to its Spectra systems, which allowed it to operate without SED and electronic warfare assets. Since then, sales of the Rafale have skyrocketed. In January 2013, Rafales participated in Operation Serval in Mali, and since September 2014, they have operated over Syria and Iraq as part of Operation Chamal. This included the joint Franco-British-American strike against chemical warfare targets in Syria on April 14, 2018. Each Rafale was equipped with several Scalp EG air-launched cruise missiles for the mission. 5 Rafales launched a total of 9 cruise missiles. The extensive use of the Rafale culminated on February 16, 2015, when Egypt finally gained its first foreign customer when it purchased 24 jets as part of a $5.2 billion or $5.9 billion deal that also included the FREM frigate and weapons. Manufactured almost entirely in France in a 24-month production process and composed of French components, free from foreign influence and export vetoes, the Rafale has garnered a total of 507 orders from 9 countries as of August 2024, with 289 orders for airframe production and 223 orders for spare aircraft. Of the 507 orders, 302 are single-seat Rafale aircraft, 157 are two-seat aircraft, and 48 are single-seat aircraft for the Navy. Initially planning to order 250 Rafales for the Air Force and 86 for the Navy, France later reduced the purchase to 286, of which 234 have been ordered. Until 2024, 166 Rafales were delivered to the French armed forces, 12 aircraft were sold to Greece, and 12 to Croatia while in service. This left France with around 143 Rafales, of which 100 were in the Air Force and 41 in the Navy. France plans to eventually acquire 225 Rafales, 185 for the Air Force and 40 for the Navy. Now, with the kill switch crisis driving demand for F-35s, France may need to produce more Rafales. After the Eurofighter Typhoons, these French jets may be the first focus of the EU. In short, the kill switch problem, which the US cannot avoid, combined with President Donald Trump's economic policies and tax tariffs against the EU and Canada, are expected to jeopardize the F-35s in the future. The F-35s may be replaced by Eurofighter Typhoon and Rafale jets, or new jets with the most modern structure, such as the Khan produced by Turkey, can be a substitute for the F-35s. Thank you for watching,